What's up? What's up? Welcome to another Facebook Live from this guy. So today we are going to talk about money. We're going to talk about something that's a real mental meltdown point for a large number of people in this world. Which is money, which is the irrational ways that we think about money and things that we do with money, and the emotions, the emotional effects that money has on us. And this is important to me. This is a near and dear topic because like everyone, I buy things with money. Like everyone, I derive a sense of security and okayness with my, the mechanics of my life from my financial situation. Like everyone, money is important to me. But also, I'm involved very much in people's relationship with money in a couple ways. One, I sell stuff online. That's a big part of how I've built my life, this awesome life that I talk about and that I have. One of the hinges of awesomeness in my life is that I'm able to produce money through internet business. So a lot of what I do doesn't involve having to go trade my time for money. And so in that sense, money is a big part of my sort of awesome life formula. But also a lot of the things that I have promoted, and I've been involved in online business for the better part of a decade now, over a decade. Actually, it's 2008 is when I started. Here it is, wow, 2019. I can't believe it. It's been over 10 years that I've been involved in online business, and so much of what gets purveyed online and what I've been involved in online involves money, business, financial opportunity, and now as I've kind of evolved and I'm really focused on helping people have an awesome life, whether that's I do consulting with business owners to help them automate and processize their business and not have to get so mired in the day-to-day, or people that just want to start a side hustle. Like a lot of the awesome life component things that we end up coming back to based on people's needs are money. Like, how do I get more money? How do I build my income? How do I get a side hustle going or something? So money is at the root of a lot of the conversations that I'm involved in on a day-to-day basis. And so I think that it's really important we get clear about money, because money is simultaneously the source of so many of our problems, and yet it's the solution to so many of our problems. People say, oh, money can't buy happiness. I've also heard someone say, and for some reason this stuck with me more, they said, well, money doesn't solve all your problems, but it solves 100% of the problems that money can solve, which is an awful lot of the problems. Money is sometimes the problem, but it's also very often the solution. Usually when money is the problem, it's also the solution. I think we have to get clear on money, and frankly, and I say this with love and with a huge amount of charitable intent from my heart, we have to stop being insane about money as human beings. So often when I have the awesome life conversation with people now, there's a lot of insanity. There's a lot of illogical behavior around money, a lot of illogical thoughts around money, a lot of, living from a place of fear or a place of denial. Those tend to be the two most common responses to conversations about money, is either to act afraid or to plug one's ears. So here's some stuff I've learned about money from selling millions of dollars of products online and being on both sides of the spectrum. I was at one point in my life in a place where money was a huge problem. Really, I was a huge problem when it came to money. Had none of it, was bad with it, was great at losing it and spending it, and bad at acquiring it and worse at keeping it. And also I've swung the other way too. So I've been doing a little bit of research around money, and I want to talk about this. First of all, there's a crafty little node in our brain called the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And it's basically right here. It's right behind, it's kind of on both sides of the bridge of our nose. It's right behind our eyes, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. And that feeling you get when money becomes an issue, like let's say the phone rings and it's a number you don't recognize, and you go, uh-oh, that's a creditor. And you get that feeling in your body. That's it's almost like it's like an anxiety and it wants to be medicated. That's a blood flow to the ventral medial prefrontal cortex. It's the part of our brain that's also very tied in with risk and reward. When they say money is a drug, it literally acts on the brain like a drug, but fear of money also acts like a form of mental illness, like a form of deep anxiety. So money's a really, really charged thing. There's a lot of research around money. There's something called the money illusion. And this is a generally accepted premise in economics, the money illusion, that actually says that people are overly focused on the nominal value of money and underly focused, if underly is a word, I guess underly must be a word. If overly is a word, underly must be a word. People are underly focused on the actual buying power of money. So what I mean by that is you notice how people are still fixated with being a millionaire? Like, I remember when I was a kid, being a millionaire was a big thing. Now, being a millionaire is still a big thing. But the fact is, being a millionaire now doesn't mean nearly what it did 30, 35 years ago when I was a kid. $1 million now, you can have $1 million in the bank and you can't even retire. Depending, everybody's situation is different. Like $1 million ain't what it used to be. And they've actually done studies that in periods of high inflation, if inflation is at 10%, so the cost of goods is going up 10% per year, and I got to move my camera around. I got cameras up here, I got cameras down here. We're going Facebook, we're going Instagram, we're carving this up for later. It's just craziness. I got screens behind me, whatever. So anyway, they do these studies on money in periods of 10% a year inflation. If you give somebody a 5% raise, they get more excited than if people are in a flatline inflation and you give them a 2% raise. So you give somebody a 2% annual raise in a year when costs of goods aren't changing, they get more excited if you give them a 5% raise in a year when cost of goods go up 10%. So they actually lose 5% of their buying power. They get more excited than gaining 2% buying power because they're just fixated on the number. Right? That's called the money illusion. It's seeing money itself as something that's intrinsically more valuable than the things that it can actually purchase. That's a cognitive delusion. It's cognitive distortion is what it's called in psychology. We have cognitive distortions around money. Economists call it the money illusion. So it's crazy. In fact, from one of my businesses, my sales manager did this experiment. I was going to be up there at the office up in Orem, where we had an office in Orem. We don't have it anymore. But when I was going to be up there one day doing a training, he said, "Hey, I'm going to do the money stack thing when we do our sales training." And what he did was he went to the bank. I don't know, maybe he went under his mattress or whatever. But he brought in $20,000 in cash, just like 2 stacks of $100 bills. In the bands, looked like something a drug dealer would carry in his briefcase or backpack or something. He brought $20,000 in, and he did this whole sales training in the office. There were like 10 sales guys gathered around a table, and he just set $20,000 on a table in front of everybody, and he just did the sales training. He didn't talk about it, he didn't look at it, and I just sat there and watched. And I don't think, and this was a group of salespeople, they were selling a $2,000 product, and the big issue that we were trying to work on in the training was they were acting afraid. They were acting kind of like there was like a psychology on the sales floor that said $2,000 is a lot of money. I'm scared to ask for that sale, and we were trying to reprogram, help them get more comfortable with larger amounts of money. Thankfully, $20,000 worked. We didn't have to go bring $100,000 in. You start to get kind of nervous, bringing big stacks of cash around with you, right? You're going to get jumped. But anyways, the point is, it was so funny to watch everyone sit there and try to pay attention to the sales training when there was $20,000 sitting on a table. Most of them had never seen $20,000 in one place in their life. They couldn't concentrate. And afterwards, like a couple hours later, we went to lunch. Later that afternoon, I remember asking people questions about the sales training. And literally, they didn't retain a thing. And what I realized is the presence of that money in the room changed their brain state. It didn't make them dumb. It made them drugged. It didn't make them bad people. It made them intoxicated people. There was something chemically happening that they didn't remember what our sales manager had talked about. He talked about some real, closing techniques, yes conditioning, getting people into saying yes and asking for the sale, and you got to ask for the sale multiple times. And this is good basic sales training. They didn't retain a bit of it because the money changed their brain. I remember it plain as day. So here's another thing about money. And this is why I titled this conversation that you shouldn't buy stuff I don't remember what I called it. Something like you shouldn't buy stuff on the internet, or be careful buying stuff on the internet, right? So there's actually two different parts of the brain that activate when we buy stuff. There's the part of the brain that activates when we make a significant risk-averse investment. Like when we do something that's smart with money, there's a part of our brain that fires up. There's a different part of our brain that fires up, and I don't remember all the technical terms. Ventromedial prefrontal cortex was all that I could retain for this conversation. I don't remember these other nodes of the brain. But there's a different part of the brain that fires up when we do something reckless with money, right? So depending on what we're doing with money, there's a different part of our brain that fires up. So if we go buy something that is conservative, that is risk averse, that is smart, the part of the brain that fires up is the same part of the brain that's involved in social emotions. So the same part of our brain that activates when we walk into a party or a restaurant or something, we see people we know and we have this recognition response and we go, oh, hey, what's up? The same part of the brain that fires up through social interaction and feelings of familiarity and engagement, that's the part of the brain that fires up when we're doing smart things with our money. The totally separate part of the brain that fires up when we do reckless things is a part of the brain that's linked to behavior in isolation. So this is why I say we have to be careful how we spend our money on the internet. Now, bear in mind, I am 100% on a consistent basis selling things on the internet. So this may not be to my interest to say, but it is to my interest to say, because I like speaking the truth, and this is the truth. Because I find it interesting, and at this point in my life, I'd rather talk about things that are interesting than things that aren't. But here's the fact, is that when you're on the internet, most of the time when you're shopping on the internet, you're alone. Typically, it's not a social behavior. Like if you're at the mall with your friends, you're going to be a lot smarter about money because the part of your brain that's involved in those social emotions is the same part of your brain that's involved in risk-averse financial decisions. When you're at home alone or at the library or whatever, wherever you go to access the internet, when you're alone, the part of your brain that has free reign over decision making isn't the part of your brain that's involved with your friends, and it's typically a lot more reckless. So you got to be careful when you're shopping online and understand. And here's where I've seen this show up in my life, and it's why it's such an interesting, fascinating topic to me, is over the last decade, as I've fashioned my life, which very much involves internet business and people buying stuff online and me among people selling stuff online, right? And by the way, let me be crystal clear. Internet business is awesome. You want to have an awesome life? Learn to sell stuff on the internet, because then you can travel wherever you want. Your business, goes with you wherever you want. Look, as long as I have this with me, it's got my MacBook Pro in it, I'm in business. I go wherever I please. I can run multi-million-dollar business from my computer. That is awesome. But it's got some, like everything, it's got assets and liabilities, right? Liabilities. People are kind of crazy when they're on the internet doing stuff. Nobody's watching. So I think this is good stuff to be aware of. I've had a lot of personal experience in 10 years selling stuff on the internet. And it's crazy, some of the stuff I've seen. And I'll give you an example. So I remember 10 years ago when I got started online, I was doing affiliate marketing. I was promoting affiliate offers, and this was back when you could run affiliate offers on Google AdWords. I won't bore you with the history, but basically you can't run affiliate offers on Google AdWords anymore. But when Google used to allow affiliate marketing, I used to tell people all the time. They'd say, "What do you do, Jeff? How did you get these results? How did you pivot your life? How did you turn things around?" I say, "Well, listen, I run affiliate ads on Google AdWords. I spend, $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and it produces, this multiple, right? This really, really positive multiple of that number that affords me a really nice life, and I can travel around and do it from wherever. That's the formula." So, and then I had training. I would have training on how to do that. Here's what was crazy: people would spend thousands of dollars on the training of how to do it. But then when it would come time to actually run the ads, they would freeze up. They wouldn't do it. When they were buying my training or training that I was promoting as an affiliate that was someone else's training, when they were investing in information that was created by someone else, i.e. on the basis of results that were created by someone else, they were perfectly comfortable spending thousands of dollars. But as soon as it came time to pull the trigger on their own ad budget and have to implement and do it themselves, they would get cold feet. They wouldn't want to spend the money. And it was so frustrating because I would sit there and I would say, listen, we have boiled this down to a science. If you will just spend the money, you've already cloned the high performing ads. You've already cloned the highest converting capture pages. You're marketing the same products. You've got the same back end offers. Like, it's all right there. Your dream lifestyle, your awesome life, your side hustle that replaces your primary hustle is right there for the taking. All you have to do is fund the ad budget. It's science. And they wouldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Because when it came to investing in themselves, they had a confidence breakdown. They were fine buying training that was based on the results and that was information created by other people. But when it came to implementing those results and translating them into their own results, a lot of people would seize up. So I've had a lot of experience with some of the insanity around money. 3.5 months ago, September, I was in an event in San Diego. And this is fast forward 10 years. I started this 2008, I started marketing online. Here it was 2018, September. I walked on stage an event in San Diego and I said, listen, I've been talking to my friend. He's a social media consultant. And I can't put it off any longer. We've got to do this social media thing. We as digital entrepreneurs have got to do this social media thing. We cannot avoid the inevitable. This is the way. It's like TV from the standpoint of credibility and authority. Only, it took America 50 years to build the infrastructure to allow a few broadcast companies to pipe media into everybody's homes. And yet in the last 10 years, these platforms have emerged that allow everybody to pipe media, not only into people's homes, but into their pockets, onto their buses, onto their phones that they look at on the train and the subway. We have more power at our disposal as content distributors than NBC did 50 years ago. We can't put this off. And I said, I'm gonna do an experiment over the next 3-6 months, however long it takes. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna build a thriving business doing nothing but videos and boosting videos and essentially seeding some money, seeding some ad dollars to create engagement online and build a big business, right? That's what I'm gonna do. And there were about 100 people, 80, 100 people in the room. And I said, who's with me? Who wants to do this? Yeah, we're in. We're going to do it, right? Oh, we can't wait to, blow up we're all going to be, the next Gary V, whatever. Okay, great. Who wants to buy a course to learn how to do it? And I'll show you everything I'm going to do. Yay, I'm in. Where do I sign up? Give me the form, fill out. Here's my credit card. Throw in credit card. No, they weren't throwing credit cards. It wasn't that kind of event. But my point is everybody was so excited to spend the money when it was about, let's watch what someone else does, and let's see piggyback on someone else's results, and let's follow someone else's formula. That was 3.5 months ago. Since then, I've put out 130 pieces of content. I've done about 50 videos. Just started doing lives today. This is my second one. I've been frankly a content animal, and I did it right through the holidays. I was going to do the Christmas thing, do the Santa under the tree, and then run in the next room and shoot a video. It wasn't quite like that. But the point is, when I decided I was going to do this, I just did it. I did it because social media is so powerful. Literally, the fact that, first of all, I live in a little town. I live in St. George, Utah. There's about 150,000 people in my whole town. There is no distinction between what I can do using this platform and what someone living smack dab in the middle of New York City can do with this platform. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care that I'm white. It doesn't care that I'm male. It doesn't care that I'm almost 40. No, anybody that wants to do this, it's never been more opportunity for somebody to create a brand, create a business, create awareness, create an audience, create traction for their ideas, for their movement. And yet, everybody's happy to throw money at it when it was learning someone else's system. But since then, either they haven't made the videos, and there's 80 or 100 people that could be watching this video, and probably some of you will see this video, and I'm not apologizing. I hope you feel a little lump in your throat, like, okay, because it's never too late. That's the cool thing is it worked 3 months ago, it'll work right now. But there's a lot of people, they threw money at it. I'm all in. But then when it came down to either actually shooting the videos or actually boosting the videos, spending the couple $1,000s to create the audience, is it worth spending a couple $1,000s to create an audience that's worth $1 million? I've had 1 million views on my videos in 3.5 months. I spent several thousand to boost them. What can somebody that knows how digital marketing works do with an audience of 1 million people? I have the rest of my life to prove that point. But my point right now is money makes us crazy. The things we'll spend money on, the things we'll chance money on, the things we won't spend money on, the things that go through our head when we're spending money, the feelings, the neurotransmitters, the chemicals in our blood. We've got to start to develop a sane relationship with money, and we've got to start to develop a trusting relationship with ourselves that isn't thrown off by money. Hope you guys follow what I'm saying. So if you're online and you're like so many people that I talk to on a daily basis who are out there browsing, perusing, scouring, hoping, praying, searching for something online that's going to change something in your life, that's going to create some impact in your life. Understand it. The first step is to get out of denial, right? You got to understand the chemistry that's going on in your brain. If you aren't hyper aware of how your brain acts when money's involved, the combination of money and taking responsibility for changing your own life. Like a lot of times those are the two things. Like remember, it's a completely different experience when you're shopping at a mall buying clothes. But when you're online by yourself making emotional driven decisions, and I mean emotional from the standpoint of like my hopes and dreams are attached to this purchase. I'm going to join ClickFunnels. I'm going to join Warrior Forum. I'm going to buy 4-hour work week on Amazon and learn how to live a 4-hour work week and have a lifestyle where I travel the globe and work from my laptop. Like when you're involved in any of these purchases, at the point of transaction, that's not just an exchange of money, but it's also a commitment to a belief that your life can somehow shift or look different. If you aren't hyper aware of how your brain works, you're insane in that moment. And that is why I've had people who didn't just buy a book. They didn't just buy a course. I've had people spend tens of thousands of dollars on intensive, long form coaching programs and private events and deep sessions and these whole processes. They'll spend $20,000, $30,000. They'll go through credit repair so that they can fix their credit enough so that they can go apply for credit cards so that 4 months after they said they were going to buy, they can come back around with $30,000 and buy the thing. A week later, they're gone. I have seen this with my own eyes. It's crazy because when it comes to making investments that involve the intersection of spending money and also believing in ourselves and being responsible for making sure that the money isn't wasted by actually following through and actually doing work and actually stepping up to whatever challenge the money created, so many of us fall apart. And it's sad. I'm not here to disparage. I'm here to create awareness and frankly caution. It's why, I'm creating a course right now that's $9. Somebody wants Jeff Lerner to tell them how to have an awesome life. You can go through my Awesome Life 101 course. Links on the screen, by the way, schoolofawesome.com. Shameless plug. You can go through that course for $9. I'll give you 30 steps to have an awesome life. My hope is that $9 is such a small amount of money that it is only with minimal insanity that anybody actually buys it. Hear what I'm saying. My hope is that $9 is a small enough amount of money. Because I will tell you this, that this course represents 10 years of my life. I have spent 10 years researching and engineering and implementing these steps into my life to create a ridiculously awesome life, of which I am very proud. It's worth a lot more than $9. But that $9 number is designed right now, price could go up at any time, That $9 number is designed to be so inexpensive that it won't make anyone crazy, and no one will buy because they were. Anyways, you guys, that's this was meant to be a 10-minute video, and we're at like 25 minutes. So clearly this is a topic I'm passionate about. I would love to hear any experiences from you guys, any wisdom, any insight, any experience, any perspective, comments, questions. Have we ever been crazy? Have we ever bought stuff online and realized we were crazy? Maybe we stayed up too late, was sleep deprived, still a little hungover, something, still a little drunk. Ever done crazy stuff with your money? Ever done stuff wide awake and sober and still realize later that because money was involved, you were crazy? I'd love to hear about it. Anyways, people, thank you. God bless. Appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.